Hey, this is Jeff. Welcome back to Coito Ergo Sum. Let's talk more action, a series which never wants to know the odds. Last week we found Larry Slater's mansion, and his terminal has the final clues we need to convince Handy we know who killed Fresca Coy. We'll look at the emails from Bob first. There's one from 2057 about a seminar. I remember you, Larry. You asked something resembling an intelligent question during the seminar. Your peers did not. Regarding your proposed Las Vegas facility and assurances of disinterest in the casino business, fear of competition is the first step towards obsolescence. That said, I have no incentive to expand my entertainment footprint into genres which are not at least somewhat family-friendly. Where our lines of business do intersect, we will both grow more nimble. I look forward with pleasure to our next exchange, whether it involves corresponding or conflicting interests. 2063, right after that Supreme Court case that we saw the headline for. Larry, while few in the mainstream media will express their gratitude, openly or otherwise, I wanted you to know that your role as a lightning rod is appreciated by nearly everyone with a significant stake in the entertainment industry. Censorship under the guise of decency statutes threatens us all, and we applaud your most recent victory. Kudos, my boy, kudos. On a legally and fiscally separate note, I'd like you to beta test something the R&D boys dreamed up. A tech fetishist such as yourself should appreciate this. Cyborg flora. Unlike plants, they never wilt or require water. Unlike synthetics, they never discolor, even in direct sunlight. I was thinking that new ranch of yours would be ideal as a long-term test bed for a couple dozen cybernetic palms. Which explains why the palm trees out front look so nice. And finally, 2075. Larry, your conclusions are correct, but your estimates are far too conservative. Your numbers might start to approximate mine if you had 5 years to improve your methodology. You don't. Whatever preparations you're making, accelerate them. I'm not at liberty to say more, but with you, I know no more is required. And this is directly related to Quo Vadis, which is all about Larry and Voltel and the preparations that Larry was making for the war that he saw as inevitable and didn't know it at the time in Quo Vadis, but here apparently Larry was given a sense of urgency about the Voltel project because his, I don't know if you'd call him friend, but they were certainly cordial, and maybe kind of his mentor, Robert House, told him, oh yeah, you're on the right track with what you're thinking there. So the next three, Fresca, Jeremy, and Mo, are the ones where we find the clues that will unlock dialogue with Handy. First one from 2070. Right after the trademark infringement lawsuit with Vault-Tec, Larry says, Fresca, rest assured your job is not contingent on the hearing. I approved the script. Even if I considered it a mistake, I do not, and was inclined to hang you out to dry. I am not. It scored $650 million domestic, $2 billion international, and 7 pervies. That tops most directors' career totals. I look forward to your next pitch. Fresca replies, thanks, Larry, that means a lot. Pitch-wise, after this mess, I'm thinking public domain. Eligible bachelor searches for the perfect ass he shagged in the cloakroom at the costume ball. It's called Sphincterella, which, I don't know, I don't like Sphincterella quite as much as I like Great Balls for Hire, but as porn parody names go, that one's pretty good. 2074, regarding the 19th hole script. Before she actually made the movie, Larry says, tone down the sex and pitch it to the mainstream studios. You'll win an Oscar instead of a pervy. Fresca replies, the sex is integral to the story, Larry. When murder's a plot point, you can show somebody's brains getting blown out, so it makes no sense for my protagonist to lose everything over a pair of batting eyelashes. I make this movie with lollipops, or I don't make it at all. Simple as that. If you're worried about tarnishing your reputation as the consummate pervert, you could always give me the executive producer credit, which he actually did. And then finally 2076, open this when you're alone, which is less than a year before the Great War. Larry says, Fresca, this is extremely sensitive. Tell no one. War, real war, is inevitable. I've built a vault to save as many as I can. Intelligent, reliable people. You're at the top of the list. Fresca replies, you're scaring me, Larry. It's bad enough in the streets, and I don't talk to CEOs and politicians like you do. Look, I'm not cut out for repopulating the earth, and I couldn't spend the rest of my life in a hole in the ground. If it happens, I want to be at ground zero. But please, you're going to ask Bruni, right? Bruni was Fresca's girlfriend. Oh, let's see what Jeremy had to say. 2075, welcome aboard. Shortly after Jeremy started working for Lollipops, Larry says, "Welcome to the Lollipops family, Jeremy. Your demo tape was impressive. I was reminded of Lollipops Holovid's roots. Models in motion videos had no scripts, and that authenticity resonated. Without them, I dare say we'd still be merely a magazine publisher." And Jeremy says, "Oh my god, dude, that scene with Lana and Dee in the 2060 edition is the hottest. Being compared to that is like totally awesome. Anyway, my gross might not match Fresca or Mo, but my production costs are so low I guarantee we're going to make money." 2077, shortly after the Purvey Awards, Larry says, "Congratulations, Jeremy. Winning with your first film is an unprecedented coup, the delay notwithstanding. On a related note, will you release the video? Fresca would have wanted that." Jeremy replies, "Thanks, man, but if it was me, I'd have canceled the awards completely in her honor. About the video, right now I can't even watch it, much less edit it. It's too soon. I'll send you a copy of the raw footage. She still had the touch, man." Of course, referring to the video that Fresca made with Jeremy and the mysterious amateur the day she died. And then 2077, shortly after that, Larry says, "Jeremy, this is awkward, but in the video she refers to an attitude supplement. Insisting everyone on the set be stone cold sober would be naive, but avoiding legal complications is paramount. More importantly, if I thought your pre-shoot activities contributed to her passing, I might not be able to forgive you." Which is polite, as is Larry's style, but also a bit menacing. Jeremy says, "No way. My guy says it's totally safe. If it wasn't, I wouldn't use it myself, much less give it to Fresca. And Stoney already gave me the talk, but this is so new they haven't banned it yet." So Jeremy is saying, I'm okay. I'm not giving my models drugs, even though you read between the lines and pretty clearly he was. And, you get the impression that Larry tended to turn a blind eye to that, even though other people say, oh no, Larry was straight and narrow around legality for his videos, but maybe not as much as he let on. And finally, Mo's, first one in 2067. Seriously? Say it ain't so, Larry. You're really going to let that alcoholic whore direct? I know she was a wreck in ladies' night, but if you want to get her off the screen, just fire her ass. Don't put her behind the camera. Well, it's your money. 2071, regarding the pitch for the lineup. Larry says, "Mo, I enjoy rough sex as much as the next fellow, but I've told you before I'm not comfortable with gratuitous rape scenes in the movies. Are 2 really necessary?" Mo says, Yeah, the first one's just a flashback. I'll do it real tasteful, Fresca Coy style if it makes you happy. The second one's in prison when the perp's on the receiving end of some ironic payback. You never questioned my decisions before, why now? Which was the year after Fresca had surpassed all the record books for porno movies with Vault Boys Day Off the year before. 2075, moving on. Larry, it's been a blast, but it's time to move on. I'm starting my own production company so I can cater to my core audience. You and Fresca don't have to worry about me competing with your lovey-dovey stuff. No hard feelings, okay? And then in 2076, thanks for nothing. Larry says, "My hands are tied, Mo. Stoney's busy, but the way I read the antitrust settlement, Lollipops is prohibited from investing in competing studios. As I recall, that recommendation came from your own attorney's amicus brief. We just celebrated the tricentennial. Try to regain your spirit of independence." Mo replies, "You rat bastard. You know goddamn well a measly $5 million wouldn't violate the agreement. I just need to keep the lights on until the release date, and now I'm going to get ass raped by those venture capital Shylocks. Thanks for nothing, buddy." I've been reading for like 15 minutes, which I'm sure will make a thrilling video, so I'm not going to read Stoney's emails, but they explain how Larry managed to acquire a private subway from LA to Vegas and a bit about the construction of Vault L in DC. If you want to know more about that, you can play Quo Vadis or watch my walkthrough of it right here on Belthan's channel. So let's go tell Handy what we learned. In the old walkthrough, people commented that Handy looked like Vasquez in this outfit, and I always wanted to give her a minigun, but I never found one. This character has a crate full of them at the follower's safe house, so there you go. Better late than never.
How may I serve you, master?
I think I know who killed Fresca Coy.
Good, but I'm not interested in unfounded speculation. Before you get my hopes up, make sure you establish motive, means, and opportunity.
Never mind the holovid cop jargon. I only need to know who and why.
But motive doesn't matter if they didn't have means or opportunity.
Where? In her hotel room. Somebody would have noticed a body being dragged in.
The simplest explanation is usually right, but I'm not completely ruling out some kind of Houdini-style misdirection. Go on.
When? Saturday afternoon or early evening?
When she was pitching a movie at a porn convention, there were people in and out of her room all day, so anybody had opportunity.
How? Drugs. Maybe a self-inflicted overdose, or maybe somebody poisoned her.
Okay, I'll give you that one for now.
So all we're left with is who and why. Satisfied?
We'll see. So who do you think did it?
There's no penalty for wrong guesses, so if you're not sure, trial and error will work, and there's no bonus reward for getting it right on the first try, so it doesn't hurt to get our thoughts on all of them. So let's do that. Start at the top. Andy Guinness.
The actor? I've got to hear this.
If you take Andy's words from the holotape out of context, you might believe this, but if you listen to the tape, it sounds to me like friendly banter. Maybe Andy trying to get a little more money to appear in the sequel, but he blamed her for ruining his career.
So he hated her enough to kill her, but he didn't do anything about it until she offered him a chance for a comeback? I don't think so.
Well, back to the drawing board, I guess.
Don't worry, I know you'll figure it out eventually.
Oh, I'll figure it out sooner than that. I really think I know who killed Fresca Coy.
Okay, let's hear it.
Fresca's girlfriend Bruni was my first guess in the old walkthrough. There are multiple clues about her alibi, but the one that makes it obvious is on Rios' terminal, and I didn't have enough science skill to hack it.
That doesn't make sense. If she did it, why would she pester the police to reopen the investigation?
Subconscious guilt can make people do funny things.
You have a point. So why do you think she did it?
Coy had sex with Deloitte, and Bruni killed her out of jealous rage.
They were porn stars. They had sex with other people all the time.
The movie they shot with Peterman was work. Later, in Coy's hotel room, that was an affair.
Even if I bought that, which I don't, Bruni has an airtight alibi. She was shooting a movie with dozens of witnesses.
Dom Atomic.
Okay, that's just ridiculous. He was in tons of her movies. He won Pervy Awards for them.
He was bitter because Fresca made him do a gay scene in Vault Boy's Day Off.
The guy was as straight as an arrow, but he wasn't a homophobe, and he was proud of that scene. Sorry, I just don't buy it.
Ginger Root.
She worked with Fresca a lot. She won a Pervy Award for Vault Boy's Day Off. Why would she have killed her meal ticket?
I'm not saying all redheads are impulsive, ill-tempered bitches, but she certainly was.
You're joking, right?
Yeah, kind of. Fresca offered the lead role in her next movie to a younger actress and made Ginger the co-star.
Yeah, she would have been pissed. Trash talk in the trade press? Absolutely. Slap in the face? Maybe. Murder? No.
And speaking of the other actress...
An actress she never even worked with? Why?
I'm not saying all redheads are impulsive, ill-tempered bitches, but... Okay, yes I am.
Really?
Sasha's immigration papers were fake. Fresca was blackmailing her to be in a movie.
It didn't exactly sound like blackmail, and even if it was, Sasha wouldn't have been the target. That would have been whoever forged her papers.
Speaking of the men who forged Sasha's papers, there are 4 people Handy will believe did it if you unlock the clues to accuse them with a convincing motive, and Mo is one of them. Interestingly, you don't actually have to be right. She just has to believe that you are.
Her mentor? Seriously?
If you know Fresca was blackmailing Sasha and you know Mo forged her papers, she'll believe you. Otherwise, you only have options that aren't quite good enough, like Fresca was his only real competition. He didn't want her to make a comeback.
He left Lollipops, the #1 name in port, to start his own company. If there's one thing he didn't fear, it was competition, especially from Fresca.
If you just know about the blackmail but you don't know Mo did the forgery, you get a slightly different version of this. But since I have both clues, she would believe it. And since I convinced her that he did it in the old walkthrough, I'm going to accuse someone else this time. So we'll just take the bailout option. I'm pretty sure, but I can't figure out why.
Without a motive, I'm not convinced. Keep digging.
Jeremy Peterman.
He idolized her. Why would he kill her?
She'll believe it was an accidental overdose if you know Jeremy and Fresca were doing an experimental drug when they made the movie, but agreeing with the coroner's report seems pretty anticlimactic, so let's try the lame option. A comeback by Fresca would have jeopardized his position as Lollipop's new golden boy.
No, he didn't even consider their work to be the same genre. He was happy that she was working again. I don't believe it was him.
She'll also believe Fresca committed suicide if you have the right clues.
A lot of people thought that, but I just can't believe it. Doesn't seem like she was the type.
Specifically, if you know Larry invited Fresca to Voltel and she turned him down, Handy will conclude that she killed herself so that Bruni could take her place and survive the war. I never believed that one even before I knew who really did it, but I do want to hear what she says about the other possible motives. It usually comes as a surprise. She was depressed about the negative reaction to 19th Hole.
I guess it does, but it would have taken more than a few bad reviews. She got plenty when she was an actress. Keep looking.
She realized her comeback was a pipe dream. Big names were turning her down.
She also had big names saying yes, and she was excited about the project. That one doesn't add up.
Now, Quo Vadis says Senator Craikland was trying to get Larry convicted of treason for building Voltel. If Larry had Fresca killed to protect the secret, Craikland would have been happy to pile on a murder charge. But Detective Rios' terminal says Craikland was trying to squash the investigation, which implies Larry didn't do it. But Handy wasn't in Quo Vadis, so for all she knows, Craikland was covering for Larry because they belonged to the same country club or something. So, Larry.
Impossible. He didn't attend the awards because he was busy working on his secret project.
Yes, but his private bullet train could go from the ranch to Vegas in 20 minutes, with no travel records.
Oh, right. So maybe he did have the opportunity. But what was the motive?
Fresca refused his invitation to Voltel. She was a drunk. He was afraid she'd talk.
You may be onto something there, but there's no way a multi-billionaire gets his hands dirty like that. Keep digging.
Which brings us to Peterman's mystery woman, Frances Deloitte, a.k.a. Amanda Sinclair, a.k.a. Claire Sin.
Who?
A woman from Iowa. She did a video with Peterman and Coy the day she died. Claire was her stage name.
Why would a horny housewife having a little fling in Vegas turn around and kill her co-star?
Now, in the old walkthrough, I suspected Deloitte. She was my second guess after Bruni because she was the last person anybody saw with Fresca, but I didn't have enough science skill to hack Rios' terminal, so I didn't get the clue about her being an assassin, and Handy didn't believe any of her other possible motives. But now I do. She wasn't just a housewife, she was a professional assassin.
Now we're getting somewhere. Who hired her?
Well, that's interesting. Handy almost believed Larry did it, so she'll definitely believe he hired Frances. But you can also say Mo hired her, presumably only if you know about the forgery. In the old walkthrough, I convinced her Mo did it by accusing him directly, and he's such a misogynistic creep, you just really want him to be guilty.
No, he only found out about the blackmail that morning. That's not enough time to hire an assassin. Besides, his company was almost broke.
Okay, Larry Slater.
Yes, that makes perfect sense. He could definitely afford it, and Fresca turned down his invitation to Vol-El. That made her a risk. He wouldn't have enjoyed betraying a friend, but he was ruthless, and her silence was the only thing between his neck and a noose. Thank you. It's been a long time and a lot of miles since I first started wondering about it.
With that distraction out of the way, I suppose we can get back to business.
Our fevered loins await the next victim.
And that completes Who Killed Fresca Coy. However, we still have an objective in the main quest to discover the origin of her fetish, for which it's helpful to have medicine skill of 100, and with a today's physician, I do.
Yes, Master?
You mentioned an order. Tell me about it.
It's the opposite of chaos. Suffering is a cause for joy because enduring it improves the sufferer. Can't be left to chance. In the absence of order, suffering is random, progress is lost, evolution runs in reverse. I resist this trend.
Not order versus chaos. Are there others like you? A cult or something?
Everywhere I've traveled, I've met others who believe as I do. Some less disciplined, some more so. Is that the work of a single cult?
Look, you evasive little... Just answer the damn question.
Yes, I was trained in a place much as you imagine. I studied philosophers and warriors, khans and chairmen, emperors and presidents. Not the pale shadows who call themselves by those names today, but the originals, the legends.
I'm sorry, you can just be a little frustrating to talk to sometimes.
There's no need to apologize. I'm yours to command.
Handy's ordinarily a rather sadistic dom, but she completely flips to a masochistic sub once you prove your superiority. When you question her, she likes the abusive options and she'll cut you off if you show empathy. Cult, we're not finished. No more bullshit. Spill it.
Yes, Master. I trained in a place where suffering is exalted. I am bound to protect their secrets. I'll tell you what I can.
A straight answer. It's about time. Did they beat you?
Our discipline was harsh. As our training progressed, we were tasked with the punishment of recent arrivals, as we had been punished.
At some point during this dialogue, you can use medicine skill to sort of psychoanalyze her. In the old walkthrough, mine wasn't nearly high enough, so I had no choice but to be nasty. This time I should be able to do it the other way. There's no option with a skill check here, so I guess we're not to that point in the conversation yet. You're not really a predator. You like being the middle of the food chain.
Yes, to be the snake, to eat the frog, and to be eaten by the wolf in turn. Divine.
Here we go. Don't escape into philosophical metaphor, even though I'm the one who brought up the whole food chain analogy, but anyway. Just tell me what happened.
We were taught mathematics and philosophy. We were raped and we were taught science and economics. We were tortured. We were taught the arts of love and war. We were taught how to teach these things to others. Those who survived did.
Is the stag a product of the cult too?
Yes, those who could not be taught but still potential value were conditioned. I was assigned to do it.
A trainer with a severe, bizarre affective disorder? The lunatics were running the asylum.
It was a mistake. I'm a master of conditioning, but I lack the will to lead. The chaos seduces me.
And eventually, there was only one way to satisfy your pathological sadomasochism.
Yes, I stole it, and I made it rape and maim while I watched. It was glorious.
And how many people did you have to screw to escape? You disgust me. Begone.
Yes, Master. As you wish.
No quest update?
Yes, Master?
I'm not sure I got the whole story of the cult. Let's hear it one more time.
I was trained there. It was harsh, but effective. I got a well-rounded education and was trusted to train others. I trained the stag. We fled and taught others the value of suffering. I didn't fuck anyone to escape. I would have, but it wasn't necessary. I think that's it.
That story's lost some of its charm. I blew it right at the end, didn't I?
Hardly. Being forced to divulge secrets that weren't mine to reveal was intensely stimulating, but repeating the story won't repeat the effect. We'll just have to find other sources of stimulation.
There it is. That is all. Go.
Yes, Master.
All right, I'm going to head back to the house for some food, water, and sleep. Oh, and I almost forgot, you can fast travel out of the basement here. You can almost never fast travel out of a building interior, so this might be a bug, but if so, it's a convenient one. Oh, Friday, 5 o'clock. Well, no sleep till Hammersmith. You know what this means.
Hello, stranger. What's new?
It's the weekend. Are you ready to become a supermodel?
Why, of course. I've been practicing my favorite poses from the old magazine. I'll just talk like 2 mullets for the interview, and people will think I'm from Utah. Or maybe Mars.
I should have recruited Veronica before doing this. In the old walkthrough, she was totally pervin on Saffron's photo shoot, but this character got into Hidden Valley the hard way. I don't even think I've met her yet. Cool. I have enough models to publish a magazine, but I'm not prepared for that yet. In Quo Vadis, a perfect score magazine issue was 1,000 caps, hence the name of the quest, but Coito Ergo Sum has more variables and less models who are eligible for multiple bonuses, so I haven't been able to calculate the theoretical maximum profit from publishing. Plus, I want to set up a distribution deal first so I don't have to schlep around the Mojave selling boxes of magazines to vendors. But first, I want that nap.
Hey, what's up?
Not much. Don't know if you heard, but I got Lollipops magazine running again.
Why the hell would you do that?
Why do you sell chems? We give people what they want so we can get what we need.
You've got a point.
Oh, and my Great Khan's reputation is high enough I don't have a speech check. So give the people what they want. Pose for me.
Okay.
Sweet. My studio is literally right over the hill from the main camp.
Here we go.
I think Diane's the first character from the vanilla game that I've asked to pose. Well, that makes sense. I've been doing the Coito Ergo Sum quest, so I've mostly been talking to characters from the mod. But if you thought only the new NPCs could be in the magazine, no. You can shoot almost every named character in the game, depending on your faction reputation, speech skill, and all that. In the old walkthrough, I was barely able to meet the quest objective to publish 12 issues just because there were so many places it wasn't safe for my character to go. I should easily be able to top my sales record with Courier Jeff, which is why I wanted to shoot Diane. The first issue is going to be a tribal theme, and she's the only elite cover girl in that category. I'm also going to need Kekata for a perfect score tribal issue. I'll get into how sales are calculated when we set the magazine layout, but like I said, I want to get distribution squared away before I do that. You can shoot as many models as you want in any order, and when you do finally set the layout, you can use any film you already have in the can. The only restriction is you can't mix men and women in the same issue. Each magazine is either all men or all women. And I was just in paw rump. I should have asked Kekata first. There are actually a couple of things I forgot to do there because I was so intent on getting some sleep. My sleep deprivation meter wasn't high, but the well-rested XP bonus had worn off. So we're all done here. Let's head back. I found a vacuum tube. Want to trade? Sure. What do the markings say? 880M, 8K. Where'd you find this baby? It's not what I need for the generator, but they're pretty rare. I'll give you something nice for this one. Enough about vacuum tubes. Okay, if you find any more, I can always use them. Goodbye. See you later. All right, Kekata.
Hello.
Can we talk some more about you?
Sure.
Are you in a romantic relationship right now?
Actually, I'm not. What about you?
Nope, I'm single.
Oh, well, good to know. Since we're swapping personal details, I like gecko steaks, grilled mantis, and my favorite ammo is 308.
Mine too. Well, thanks for sharing.
You're welcome.
Oh, is it just me, or do you feel a connection between us?
I know you well enough to know you aren't timid. My tribe has very simple courtship rituals. Of course, I'd be willing to learn how outsiders go about it, if that makes you more comfortable.
Our rituals aren't that complicated either. We do things to learn more about each other.
That's always a good idea. What did you have in mind?
Why don't we travel together? See a bit of the world outside the valley.
Perfect. I need some time to make arrangements so the farm doesn't fall apart while I'm away. Come by the house tomorrow, and I'll be ready.
Okay, so I guess we're not doing a photo shoot today. But we are finally getting somewhere with Kekata's romance dialogue, so that's excellent news. That being the case, I'm going to call it a day, off-screen some loot sorting and other housekeeping details, and we'll see what kind of trouble we can get into with Kekata next week. See you then.